Hi, I'm Marilyn Gale Vilyus from WestHoustonAttorney.com, and people are always asking me what kind of documents they should get together if they're thinking about filing for divorce. So I have a list before me of some of the things that you should keep in mind if you're thinking about leaving your spouse. You know, that drawer in the desk in the extra bedroom has a mysterious way of suddenly becoming empty the day after your spouse receives divorce papers. So these are some of the things you ought to copy and then return to their normal place where you usually keep them. Any prenuptial documents or postnuptial documents you might have executed. If you executed with your spouse any separation documents in a state other than Texas, you would want a copy of that as well. You need your last 2 years' income tax returns. If you filed jointly, that'll cover both of you. But if you filed separately, you want a copy of the return for each party. You need your last 2 months' pay stubs for both you and your husband or wife. Evidence of any previous bonuses you received. Copies of any real estate documents, titles to your homes, stuff like that. In addition, though, you want mortgage documents, rental or lease agreements, things, promissory notes, financial statements, stuff like that. You need a record of your savings accounts, whether it be at a bank or a credit union. Also, any other type of savings association. Certificates of deposit and stock certificates are a must. You want evidence of income from things like rental property or maybe oil and gas leases. You also want records that have to do with the sale of any previous property that you might have sold. Now, in today's day and age, retirement benefits are really, really important. And so we're looking for your past statements with regard to 401ks, ESOPs, pension plans, any profit sharing accounts. Now the tricky thing here is we're not only talking about you and your spouse, and we're not only talking about your current employer, but we're talking about past employers as well. We would like the titles to your vehicles, whether it be cars, boats, trailers, planes, that kind of thing. Next thing on the list goes to expenses. We want to know about your monthly expenses. And so the first obvious thing is any mortgage or rental lease payment you have to make. But in addition to that, we're talking car payments, utilities, loan payments. We want to know the minimum monthly payment on your credit card accounts. Any insurance payments, and that's going to be, again, car, house, umbrella, stuff like that. Now, this might be a little less obvious than the things we've already discussed. We want to know about things like your frequent flyer accounts, maybe any country club memberships you might have, or other types of reward plans, because guess what? These things are also community property and they're divisible on divorce. Now, if you're 20 years old, this might not apply to you, but you know what? You might have, if you're older, a prepaid burial plan or maybe cemetery lots. Again, this stuff is community property and has value. We want to know about your licenses. Now, my favorite kind, well, that would have to do with your Texans tickets. So guess what? Your attorneys are going to be trying to figure out whether you're alternating games next season or you're alternating seasons. But whatever you're going to do, this is a community property asset, and go Texans. Now, we'd like to know about your business documents. If you have ownership in any businesses, this is very important to us. Now, maybe you have fault grounds in your divorce and maybe you don't, but now's the time to think about that email correspondence. You know, we do have electronic surveillance and we can get this kind of information through discovery, but we are trying to save you a few bucks in attorney's fees. So the more organized you can be and the more documents that you can produce, the less your case is going to cost you and the better off you're going to be. When you move out of your home and you take some furniture items with you, we would like you to remember that Even though these things are in your possession, they still belong to both of you. Most of the time, whatever a party takes with them when he or she leaves ends up his or hers in the final property division, but it's not always the case. Nonetheless, you know that old rule about possession being 90% of the law? It's a lot easier to keep something in your possession than it is to try to make your spouse give it to you. So if something is important to you, either monetarily or even if it has sentimental value, you might want to consider taking it with you when you move out. We would like you to try to get credit in your own name if you don't have it before you leave. That's just going to make your life ever so much easier. And as a final note, again, I just want to say the more organized you can be and the more documents you can produce to your lawyer, the better position you'll be in to negotiate a final property settlement, and the more money you'll save in attorney's fees. If you have any other questions, call us at 281-550-6650, and also check out our website at westhoustonattorney.com.